Previously on the Elevate With Us podcast.
Welcome back to the next episode of the Elevate With Us podcast. We are in for a treat today. I'm very excited to welcome one of the realtors that's with us at Realty One Group Elevate. He has a great story. He's a great agent, and he's shifting in his business a little bit. Can't wait for him to share his story. So we have Shaun with us today. You only ever said you were going to be a professional football player. You never had like your other thing.
No, I didn't have another thing.
Like
when I grew up,
you didn't have a backup plan.
No, there was no backup plan.
Okay.
So I'm a fan of this show that I found on a sick day, $1 Million Listing. And I'm watching. I'm like, man, what if I did real estate?
Well, your kids are born. They're in the hospital. Yep. You lost your job. You are taking the real estate class.
Taking the class.
You failed the test the first time.
Very frustrating. I remember my wife, like, you can do it, just study. And I think I went and took so I did an online class that she bought via Groupon. And then I went and did a refresher in person.
Oh, like a weekend, like those weekend ones?
Yeah, I did a week.
A whole week?
I just went.
Oh, that's nice.
I didn't have a job.
Right. Oh.
so
you had time.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get to it. I'm trying to make it happen. So I took a week, Monday through Friday refresher, and then like a couple weeks later, I passed and got my license.
Awesome. So that was in
2015.
2015. Now we're in 2015.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're in 2015, and you are still living in Jacksonville.
Yep.
And then you joined a brokerage.
I joined a brokerage.
And how did you pick that brokerage?
I met one of the agents at that brokerage at a real estate investing group.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they used to have a group downtown at the it shut down now, but it was the restaurant right on the river.
Okay, okay.
Brew house or something like that.
I have no idea.
Yeah. So it was a group that used to meet there, and I would go there when I was trying to wholesale and do all that stuff.
So it was like a bunch of connections.
And somebody I met was at the first brokerage I joined, and I just went. I didn't really interview a lot of companies. I just went with, I know so-and-so.
The referral.
Yeah. And I was there for a few months.
Okay, not that long.
Not that long. It was very expensive to be in business at that company, in my opinion, for what I knew at the time. Then I transitioned to another company, and I was there for a while, learned a lot. The support was very limited.
Okay.
And I got to a point where I was on top of the world because I sold, I think only that first full year, I only sold like a little over $1 million. But it was more than what I made in the corporate world.
Right, but it was a lot of money.
I was on top of the world.
Good.
Yeah. I was like, going home and playing the PlayStation, like, I'm good. I got a little bit of money now.
I sold one house, I'm done.
Yeah.
No, I knew you sold a couple.
Because you sell, the commission check was, I'm like, this is more than I've ever
it's a good amount
had
of money.
at one time.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So, so I'm kind of stumbling my way through real estate.
Okay.
I'm doing everything under the sun.
Good description of it. I think a lot of realtors feel they stumble their way through. They hang their license somewhere, and then the broker disappears or the manager disappears, and they're just like, so I'm a realtor. What does my day look like?
What am I supposed to do when I wake up?
What do I wake up to today?
That was what I had to learn quickly.
Yeah.
And it was, and this is nothing like $1 Million Listing.
No, because real estate is a lot more detailed than
way more
than anyone thinks, and I think that that's probably the biggest failure for agents.
It's a misconception.
That's a better word for it. Biggest misconception is they go into it and they think that their phone's gonna ring.
Yeah,
like someone's gonna call you and be like, "Hey, Shaun, do you want to list my $3 million property?
Come on by.
I got your number from my neighbor's brother or sister's mom."
Yeah. In a perfect world, that's what's happening.
And you're the only agent I'm interviewing.
Yeah.
So you've been in real estate about 10 years.
Yeah, so June, July will be 10 years.
And how often has that happened?
After I've called them a few times.
Yeah, right. I mean, it just
come list me. No, it doesn't happen often.
It just is not one of those things. It's such a
yeah.
I think that it does. Every now and again, someone calls you based on a recommendation from somebody else.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, I have always found if, like, let's just say, my neighbor is like, hey, I just got off the phone with my sister and she's looking to buy a house. I'm like, hey, do you want to put us on a group text, or do you want to give me their phone number? Because there's about 99.9% chance they're not calling.
She's not going to call me.
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't mean they don't want to work with you.
Yeah.
It's just that it's just not the culture of society.
Yeah. Well, this might be another lesson, but sometimes you got to train people to behave the way you want them to behave within your business.
Oh yeah.
It's like, so that's a whole referral thing.
Oh my gosh. I was just
contact us for more.
Talking to an agent about that today, that, you got to classify your little list of people, and then you've got to decide where they fall. If they're, when they think of real estate, are they going to think of you? And if they are, then you make them an A. And if they're not, you got to maybe make them a B or a C, and you got to teach them.
Right. You got to teach them how to treat it.
But we're not like having a class. We're not like, hey, you're a B level customer, so this is
you
a
don't
class.
tell them that.
Yeah, it's a totally different
how am
scenario.
I only C? What do I have to do to?
Yeah, because nobody wants to be average.
But no, so real estate. I mean, there was a lot of moving pieces, and I didn't know what I didn't know.
It's so hard.
Yeah, and I would jump on YouTube, and I would reach out to my uncle and my brother-in-law, and man, how do you do this? And I would ask other agents that are selling way more houses, big, multi-million-dollar houses.
Yeah.
Man, how did you? I would go to the Caravan.
Oh, broker
Remember
caravans? Remember those?
Do they do caravans?
So they have like an unofficial one, I think. Like, I don't think the MLS sponsors it anymore.
Oh, really?
But there's an unofficial one.
Okay.
It's a Facebook group. Let me know if you want to be added.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, remind me.
It's
I'll add
nostalgic.
You. It is nostalgic.
But no, I would go to caravans, and I'm walking through these multi-million-dollar properties on the river, and I'm, getting my Instagram stuff and hashtag $1 million listing.
Oh my God, I love it.
Playing the part.
Yeah.
And I would ask, how did you do this? How did you get this? How do you get into this world? And the answer was always, with time. I've been doing it a long time.
One foot in front of the other.
Yeah.
Like, no one generally has instant success. I think
there's no easy button.
No,
I wish there was.
No, and there's no secret sauce.
I wish there was.
People really want to know the secret sauce, and they're really disappointed when there isn't. And I always say, you and I could do the same marketing,
and then have different results.
And you are different than me, and I'm different than you. So it's going to go out to the universe differently, and we'll have different people attracted to that marketing. Yeah.
And that was man, that was tough. Like, there was sometimes I would like, I don't get to share my story often. So sharing now is kind of like I'm recalling bits and pieces. But there was sometimes I would be driving to the office like in tears.
Of course. All been
like,
there.
What am I doing? Mm-hmm. Why did I do this? Like, just going through all the emotions of like, what am I supposed to, what is my purpose here?
Yeah. And so what that tells me is that it's because you care.
Yeah.
Like if you had no emotion toward it, then it wouldn't matter to you, but it was important to you. You enjoyed it. It was, you've heard me say this before, like filling your bucket. And because of that, you were upset or driven by it because you're a self-starter. I think that the fact that you've been an athlete has probably really led to a lot of your success because it's a muscle. Like, you have to think on your feet.
Yeah.
You used to have to literally, now you have to figuratively think on your feet.
Yeah.
I tell agents, and I've told customers this when I was selling real estate, that the reason we're paid a lot of money, because we do get a nice size check, is we're paid to solve problems.
Right.
And we're paid to solve that problem quickly and painlessly.
Right.
Right. So I say if an issue comes up in a transaction, I want to come to that buyer and seller with the problem fixed or with the solution. I'm not just going to say, hey, guess what? Deal blew up.
Yeah.
You
never want to do that.
You never want to do that. Instead, you're like, hey, listen,
right.
Mr. Buyer, this happened, but I think this is the best solution. Like,
right. We could do this, or we could do this.
Exactly.
And this is how it should play.
But that's what we're really paid for, is problem solving and making it as painless as possible.
And problem solving, being a psychologist.
Oh, therapist.
Being a therapist.
Marriage
counselor, relationship counselor.
Maybe helping.
Sometimes babysitter.
Your children.
Sometimes
we're helping with children. I definitely have more than once, like, sat in model homes with kids and let the And let the parents walk the home with the site agent because I'm like, hey, I've seen this home before. I will color with John all day long right here and tell him that was the best circle I've ever seen.
I've had tea party dates.
Yes.
While the parents are walking around.
Oh yeah.
And this is all coming over time. No one is telling me what to expect.
No, you have to kind of.
This is just experience.
It's like intuitive. Like you're like, oh wait, what should I do now?
Right.
Oh, they're struggling. Okay, maybe I could step in here. Right. And probably because you are a parent, you were able to recognize that like struggle that they were having to focus on.
Yeah, but even the people side of it, like just being able to communicate with someone, and because once you really get into it and you get really good at it and you start doing like lead generation things and you're having to talk to people and
strangers,
read body language and everything else, tonality.
Yeah.
And
you have to meet them where they are, and you have to make sure you're talking to them in a way that they needed to be spoken to, whether you're used to doing like a disc and using that. But, if you're a D, you can't, you have to talk to them a lot differently than you would be with someone that's a C personality. So
it's very important. So the disc personality test, there's all kinds of tests out there.
Millions of them.
But just understanding like, who I'm sitting across from, is it a first-time home buyer or someone on their fifth home? Is it an engineer or an attorney, right? Is there a husband and wife? Am I talking to both of them?
Who are the decision makers?
If they're leaning forward, I'm leaning forward.
Correct. And
if they're sitting back, I'm right here.
Correct.
And then even, from that all the way down to like door knocking. I've done.
That's controversial.
Door knocking?
Yeah.
I loved it.
So did you really knock the door?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
even
many
if they had a doorbell.
So many people are opposed to it. And, I think the magic of real estate is there's a million different ways to sell and a million different ways to prospect and get customers. And there's no wrong way. Well, there is one.
There's a wrong way?
To do nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
If you're not doing anything.
To think customers are going to come to you by osmosis. Like, I'm going to sit here and like, it's just going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to be a doer.
Yeah. I haven't figured out.
Clearly you're a doer.
Yeah. I've done everything. And this is just YouTube. Like
you're a learner.
Yeah.
You're into learning and furthering yourself and finding it. Like if you might have asked agents at the office and gotten some information, you always wanted more. I mean, I think that YouTube is one of the most amazing resources. And I did the same thing, especially when I kind of rebirthed my real estate business here, when I restarted. I mean, I would watch YouTube videos. Like my kids would be, at practice and I just have little headphones on.
It in. That's what I used to do.
Yeah, you do.
Or driving to the office, I'd have it coming through the radio.
Absolutely. I still do it.
I'm not watching it, but listening to it. So that's where I learned like scripts and dialogues and
scripting is so amazing it's such a lost art. We need to bring it back to the office.
We should.
I'm ready.
We should. Let's have some really good stuff to share.
Let's pick a day. Let's pick a day. I'm on. I'm ready.
Scripting and live calls. I'll do
all of it. I'm ready.
Yeah.
We're doing it. You guys hear that? If you're looking for scripting and live calls, or reach out, we're bringing it back.
Yeah.
It's really important.
It's a lost art.
You're going to love Minor when he comes in.
I'm signed up for it.
I know you are. So
and we followed each other on Instagram.
Totally off topic, but he's a really great broker owner with Realty One Group in South Florida. And he has a servant's heart and is really giving and agreed to drive up here.
Yeah.
No questions asked.
Yeah.
He basically was like, what day do you want me there? I'll go there any day you want.
That's dope. Yeah. Shout out to Minor. So I followed him. He followed me.
Yeah.
And I was stalking his page and I'm looking at some of the stuff he's doing. And I'm like, that's dope.
So when he agreed to the day, you were the agent I thought of that would get the most out of it, because we can segue to what your next goal is. Because you've sold real estate, you've sold a lot of real estate, you're successful at it, you're still doing a great job at it.
I made the cutoff.
Yeah, you did.
I made the cutoff.
You did.
That was a celebratory mark.
Really, really, really well. But the neat thing about real estate is there's a lot of different things you can do. I mean, we talked about you could be an investor. That could be, you could be a traditional realtor who, helps buyers and sellers sell and find homes. But something that people don't talk about is that you could help other realtors.
Right.
Because you've done hard things.
I've done all the hard things.
And
most of them.
And now there's so much more information out there.
Yeah.
it can be overwhelming because I don't think that as many people are self-starters as they used to be.
Right.
I think that we're a little overwhelmed or overstimulated with go to YouTube, go to TikTok, go to Instagram, follow this person.
Yeah.
This person's an influencer or whatever that means.
I have a term for it.
I'm so
because
ready.
It happened to me.
I'm so excited.
It's information pollution. It's too much information.
Information pollution. That's strong.
I got to a point where I was watching too much, and there's so many different coaching styles out there. There's so many different scripts. There's so many easy pills or easy magic pills.
There's a shiny object out there.
Shiny object.
All the time. There's so many in real estate. I swear all realtors have the same brain for like, oh, that's going to fix all my my lead generation problem.
Yeah.
If I buy that.
You want to know how to make money in real estate?
Just say it's going to give you leads.
Sell stuff to realtors. Sell prior to
we're
realtors.
Really sellable, huh?
Yeah.
And gullible.
Yeah, because you make a video and you put it out there and it shows up on your page and it's like, oh, you want to make $10,000 this month? Here you go.
You're not wrong. I mean, I have bought a lot of systems.
Me too.
I really have, and some have worked and some haven't. But you want to take what you've learned, the good and the bad, and you want to help realtors.
Yeah, and I know what works for me, and it's all about finding out what works for you.
Mm-hmm.
Not everyone can
no
door
secret
knock.
Sauce.
Right.
There's no magic pill, but there are a lot of tools out there to help, and I think that's part of the reasons why you liked our platform.
Yeah,
because it allows that.
Yeah. So the marketing was really good.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
The marketing was good.
I'll
put that on record.
I like it.
The marketing was good.
I mean, I think our plan's really pretty.
Yeah. And I had hit a point where I know what I got to do.
Right.
I know what I got to get on the phone. I got to call.
Right. You know what it takes to sell real estate.
I know what it takes to sell real estate.
You've done it long enough. You know this works, this doesn't work. And, there's new things that come in, all the time. I mean, like a tool that I think is really useful is if you want to get more listings, I think calling expireds can be really successful. Yeah. It can be a really great way to sell real estate. And you do have to pay for a platform.
Yeah, for expired. Well, there's a way.
There is a way, very time consuming through NEFAR that you can do it.
Yeah, with a tax record and everything else.
But it's a little bit, but if you want it, if getting back time's important to you, there's many different platforms.
Yeah.
We have a discount with one of them.
Which one? Is it
RedX maybe?
Is it
no, I lied.
Is it Follow Up Boss? No.
We have Follow Up Boss, but I think
it is RedX.
I think it is RedX. We have a franchise relationship. Before. I have two. Yeah. I've used them all.
I've used Mojo. I've had single line, triple line dialer.
Oh yeah.
Banging through calls in the morning, going and door knocking in the afternoon.
Yep.
Done it all.
So it's funny. So I've door knocked, but I've never knocked doors. Like I've used door knockers and I hang them on the door. Oh. And if people are outside, I talk to them.
Really?
But mine was more because I was always so short on time. I was always juggling so many things. And I mostly door knocked for open houses.
Okay.
And I would always advertise an exclusive open house preview for the neighbors.
Yeah.
With and I would just walk whatever homes. I'd usually bring the
just hang the door knocker?
Yes, sir.
So you didn't knock?
Nope.
So you hang it and then go on to the next one?
Yes.
And you might have been on the Ring camera.
Yep.
Okay.
And I had the kids with me, and I almost always did it after school time. Like if the open house was Saturday, I would do it on Thursday. And
you had the kids with you too?
Yeah, I would bring them with me because they're nice.
You should have made them knock.
They would come with, they would hand it to if someone was washing their car.
Okay.
And then I would just walk up behind and introduce myself, and no resistance
because of the kids.
Because of the kids.
That was a cheat code.
Yeah, I know.
That was good.
There's a secret.
Yeah. That's one secret that I would say. Like if you have kids, I had a coach one time.
And it was good. Like I was a single mom, so it was like a good way for me to this sounds so bad, get steps in, spend time with the kids and work.
You're killing all birds in one stone.
Yeah, now I'm going to sound like a terrible mom. We've done it in the rain because we were doing it. It's Florida at 4 o'clock.
And it's hot.
Oh, we've done it in really hot weather. It one time thundered. We had to go. And we were really far from the car. But, oh, yeah.
I've door knocked until I almost passed out one time.
Ooh, that's only someone really dedicated would do that.
It was really hot.
Yeah.
And I had to call my wife. And she had to bring water and a sandwich. And I was I'm sitting in the car slumped. I almost passed out from exhaustion, door knocking. Yeah.
So bad I shouldn't laugh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Commitment.
The goal was 100 contacts that day.
And how many did you get to?
I can't remember. It was a lot of. It was a
townhome
community.
Okay.
In Central Florida. This was another topic. But yeah, and I hit like every townhome in the community.
Wow.
That was alone.
That's incredible. You know, I must say that I don't think there's many realtors that have that commitment right now.
And we're getting back to that's what it's going to take too.
Well, we're back to classic real estate. You know, we're back to basics. In
vintage form, which I love.
Listen, that's what we should call our group that we're going to start, like vintage real estate. I think it could be really fun.
Yeah, you got to do the old things.
Yeah, I got to do the old thing. All
back
is
to the basics.
Old is new.
Old is new.
Old is new. We're getting some catchy phrases going on. But no, you're right. I mean, I think, I mean, real estate really hasn't changed. It's still the same stuff.
Right.
You know, and those back to basics things work. You know, I always, when I had the team, I used to always say, hey, we're not practicing conversations with each other. You're practicing with customers.
Right.
And then you're losing money.
Then Right. I had similar conversations.
Yeah. Same thing.
I had a team at one point and we were scripting and role playing and, you know, I think those things are important.
They are important.
Because, you know, COVID happened and I think the industry kind of transitioned to like we were taking orders. It was like fast food. And the customer was like, hey, I need to sell my house. Hey, I want to buy a house. The interest rates are so low. And
yeah, that's a really good way. It almost like unwhite gloved. You know,
So you agree?
I never thought of it like that, but I agree with you 100%. It
was like taking orders.
Well, and we couldn't make it a beautiful event because it had to happen so fast, like fast food.
It was insane.
You know, you couldn't make your reservation 90 days in advance to make it wonderful because homes were being bought and sold in a day.
So quickly.
We were like, you know, we were like McDonald's or we were more like the soup Nazi because it was not Burger King. You didn't get it the way you liked it. You just got it the way it was served.
You got to take what you get.
That is so amazing.
So that's from the consumer side, right?
Yes.
So the consumer is getting a watered down service.
Yes.
Right.
They had to.
And however that shapes the perception of the consumer, did what it did.
Yeah.
On this side of it, from the business standpoint, as a realtor, you weren't having to lead generate 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours a day.
No, because
everyone was buying and selling.
And you couldn't, because if you were going to spend 3 or 4 hours lead generating, you were missing out on 2 to 3, 4
what's happening.
Customer calls of people really buying and selling.
Exactly.
So it became this vicious cycle of, you know, and I'm sure you've heard of people were like, oh gosh, like you must have made so much money then because da da da. And I'm like, I might have brought home a great, you know, year of commissions, but I bet my hourly rate was so terrible because we worked so many hours like on just getting deals done because most customers didn't just write one offer because there were 72 offers on every deal, that the chances of you hitting it the first time on the first one were low. That I bet you if you calculated the hours you worked
that you spent, what a time.
It was so crazy. And doesn't it feel like it was so long ago?
It feels like it was so long ago.
But yesterday at the same time, I mean.
That was a crazy time.
So I was talking to one of the realtors in the office, and we were talking about how right now the market is so weird. And I hate to use that word, is that you're seeing multiple offers again. I see them all the time. Mm-hmm. But then at the same time, you're seeing homes sit for 300 days.
Yep.
And it's not that that's happening in one price point or in one neighborhood. In the same neighborhood, with what feels to be like really comparable homes, you got one that's, you know, bouncing and you got one that's dead. Yeah. Market's crazy right now.
Weird might be the right word.
I don't know how else.
Twilight Zone.
It is like the Twilight Zone.
Because you don't know what to expect.
You don't.
There's the predictability. I mean, you could do what you're supposed to do. You know, a good house, a good product, price right, good condition. Yeah. You should sell. Mm-hmm. But I've had it on both sides. I've seen it where I had one area for a buyer that we were focused on for months, where something would come on and get 10 offers, and then we would find something and think we can get a deal because it's been sitting. Yeah. So, and it's in the same area.
Right, and there's like not that much. So you can't figure.
It's weird.
It is weird out there. Weird. So I don't know.
But to circle back and wrap that about that, I do think that we've transitioned back to a time where like the classic things should come back into play. Like you're gonna have to lead generate. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to make the calls, make the contacts. You're gonna have to have some kind of strategy. Sure. To get to that.
Yeah, no, you do. You have to make a plan, right? Yeah. Failing to plan is planning to fail.
Yes.
And I think it's really important that agents know that lead generation really is a thing, that it's not just like this like pipe dream, or it's just this thing that we're making up as agents, that
you got to have a way.
Because when I started real estate here, I didn't have a sphere. I didn't know anyone.
Because you relocated.
I relocated and I got divorced and kind of lost a bunch of my friends per se. And so I built a business on expireds. And I used to.
That's impressive.
It was hard. I preferred expireds over for sale by owners because I didn't have to convince them that realtors offered value. Okay. I had to convince them that I was valuable, that like I was a different agent than their last one. And the thing I always said every single time, almost all expireds ask you, well, if you're calling me now, why didn't you bring me a buyer then?
Yeah.
And I said the same thing every time. I didn't know your home was for sale.
Ooh.
That's hard. And they're like,
and then silence. You don't say anything else.
And they'd be like, what do you mean you didn't know my home was for sale? I'm like, well, I never got anything from your realtor.
Wow.
I never got any marketing. And that really started some good conversations. You're welcome.
You might have just gave a gem.
If you call expireds,
that is an objection.
That really works.
That's
it's objection handling. Yeah. It was, and that really, because they would always ask, well, I'm not going to list it, but if you brought me a buyer, or why didn't you bring me a buyer before? And well, I didn't know.
I didn't know it was on the market.
I had no idea.
Yeah. And you say, and you handle an objection that way, and then you just be quiet.
Oh yeah.
Just
silence.
Dynamic silence is what it's called. You just don't be the first to speak. Let it stew. Mm-hmm. But that's a really good.
It worked really well.
That's good.
That was probably my little that would seal the deal of trust.
Yeah.
Because and it was genuine. I usually never knew the house was for sale. Every now and again I would have showed it and I would give them some real feedback on it.
But realistically, how is it being marketed? Is it being pumped out to every brokerage, and does everyone know about it? How's your company marketing it?
Yep.
Does your company have market share? Stuff like that.
It would segue really well to what I would do. It was really.
So
what
would you do differently? How would
so
you
wait, what do you mean you didn't know? Well,
Yeah.
how come, like, how could agents know? And I'd be like, oh, well, you could email them. You just talk about all the different things in Facebook groups, and it would lead to some really, it would at least not get a hang up.
Right.
If I got that far in the conversation. So
right.
The point is there's a lot of different ways to generate leads.
Yeah.
So many. Most brokerages, I feel, focus on just working on your sphere, which I do believe is the best way.
I think it's the most important way.
Yeah.
And that's something I can do better myself.
Yeah, everyone can. I mean, we can always look back and say we can do better, but if you don't have one, it doesn't mean you can't be successful.
Right. There's so many ways.
I think that's really important.
I think finding out what you're comfortable with, and then having leadership or coaching or something along those lines to like help you figure out.
Everyone needs support. I don't care where you are in real estate. I don't care if you sold 100 million last year or one house for 100,000.
Yeah.
You need someone.
You know what I didn't know?
What?
So the agents that you see on, some of the top agents in the country.
Yes.
Or in our market per se, I didn't realize that top producers also had coaches.
Oh yes.
In the real estate business, and I didn't even I can't remember how I found out about coaching, but that's when things changed for me. Is like when I started to accept
absolutely,
being coached in real estate, and Michael Jordan had Phil. Right.
No, everybody needs a coach. I mean,
right.
Olympians have coaches.
Right.
Or
so
like professional athletes, right? Yeah, no, I firmly believe in coaching.
Yeah.
I love coaching. I think you and I talked about this, like the difference between coaching and mentoring.
Yeah.
Which is really hard. It's like a little bit different,
It is different.
And I think that people like to think it's like that. And it's not. It's significantly different.
It's different
to coach versus mentor.
Yeah. So coaching, which is I found out in this new journey I'm on.
Yes.
Coaching is more of a short term project. It's 30,
it's like
60,
it's like a
days.
thing. Like
it's
if you want to be coached on expireds, that would be a topic.
And mentorship is long term.
Long term.
Holding your hand throughout the process.
Yeah.
And so long story short, that's how I found my way to you.
Yeah, because you're looking to have what I would call different pillars in your real estate business.
Right.
You don't want to stop selling.
No.
You enjoy selling, but you also really enjoy helping people.
Yeah.
And helping, I mean, that's probably why you enjoy selling, is because you're helping real estate customers, but you want to help agents.
Yeah.
And you want to help agents both as a coach and a mentor.
Right.
Or am I, you want to be able to do both?
It depends on the need.
Right.
It depends on the need. So I indirectly have helped colleagues in the business just by answering my phone, helping people through transactions, whatever the case may be.
You answer the phone?
Well, yeah, that's the moneymaker.
Nugget, guys.
Answer the phone.
Mic drop.
But,
answer the phone people call.
Yeah, but not. So people, agents would call and, hey, what do you think of this? Or, hey, I'm having a struggle with this. And I would coach them through it.
Right. So what that means is that they see you as a leader and they see you approachable. And that's a huge part of... No, for real. I mean, and that's really, and they know you're successful, so they know that you could give them some good advice. And I think that's really, really important.
Yeah.
And I think that, we need more realtors that are willing to help and provide agents a platform for it. I think that there's probably a misbelief. That's the wrong word. Is that a word? Misbelief?
For now it is.
It is. I think I made it up.
Disbelief.
So before
disbelief?
Is it disbelief?
Maybe.
Oh, I was saying I was having a hard time with word recall. He wasn't sure if it's a real thing. I might have made it up, but every now and then you have brain fog, and today is one of those brain fog days where words are hard.
What's today?
Tuesday.
It's a Tuesday. And Monday was a Monday.
It was a Monday.
But maybe misconception.
I'll take it. Misconception is that people who are winning are just doing it on their own.
Yeah.
That's a big misconception. Yeah. I think it doesn't matter what business you're in, that they're doing it on their own, and they most likely have a team of people that are helping them within their brokerage or not within their brokerage, but they have people that are helping them be successful and guiding them because every real estate transaction is different. Every single one. I still learn.
Right.
I still learn every time. I'm sure you do too.
Right.
And I just think it's really important that, you have someone to help you. And I love that that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
That's what you want to do. And we're really excited to be partnering with you on that. And I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you.
Shaun, I so appreciate you coming on. I already know you have to come back. We have tons of more stuff we could talk about.
Yeah, we could talk about lead gen. We could talk about we could talk about it all. I'm open to it. I'm comfortable with this now.
See?
This is cool.
See, so thanks so much for coming on. I can't wait for next time.
Thank you.